in the central economic problem, first problem we discussed what to produce. What to produce. What to produce is decided in the economy. Is decided in the economy. So who decides? We the human being. We decides. We decide what will be produced in the economy. So we decides, we the people, the human being decides what will be produced. Suppose we decide that rice will be produced, so rice will be produced. It is the decision of the human being, decision of the human being. So as per our wish, as per our desireness, as per our willingness, as per our ability to pay, we decide what to produce. Means we decide because we will purchase. So the purchasing, question of purchasing power comes in. So as per our demand, decision takes place. What will be decided? Therefore, so demand arises from the central economic problem. Central economic problem. So today we will discuss what is demand. What is demand? Because it is decided, it is demanded by the society what will be produced. So that demand arises from the central economic problem. Who creates demand? We the human being. Who will consume that product, who will consume those services, they decides, they create demand. They create demand. So as per your syllabus, the second chapter talks about the demand, meaning determinants of demand, law of demand, elasticity of demand, price, income, and cross elasticity means the types of elasticity of demand, and supply, meaning determinants, law of supply, demand versus supply. Those we will be studying in this chapter. So since demand arises from the central economic problem and the demand is created by the consumers, so the theory of demand starts with the behavior of the consumer. Behavior of the consumer. So consumer behavior is the central position of in the analysis of theory of demand. So in the analysis of theory of demand or the demand theory, we will be analyzing, we will be studying the behavior of the consumer. That is why I said in the while defining economics by the modern economics, I said economics is a social science dealing with human behavior. So you can understand from here, dealing with human behavior, behavior of the human being, who are the consumer in the economy, who will consume, who creates demand. So their behavior, those consumers' behavior will be studied in the theory of demand. In whole economics, you will study the behavior of the consumer, behavior of the human being is only studied. So the consumer is assumed to be rational. So here there are certain assumptions. Those assumptions are assumed before you start the analysis of demand or the demand chapter. What are those assumptions? The consumer is assumed to be rational. Consumer is rational because why consumer is rational? Consumer will pay and consumer will buy. So transaction will take place in the economy. Given his income and market prices, various commodities, he plans the spending of his income so as to attain highest possible level of satisfaction. Means what? Here, every consumer earns according to his income. He plans how much will be spent on what commodities. As per the market prices, those commodities are purchased, and after purchasing that commodity, purchasing the commodity means transaction takes place there. Highest possible level of satisfaction, the consumer will attain highest possible level of satisfaction, means utility will be gained. If you take an example, suppose your father earns 100 rupees per day, that 100 rupees is allocated on different heads. For example, he will purchase, so 100 rupees is income. So income is given, income is fixed. Today he will earn, or he has gone for his job, so he will earn 100 rupees. That 100, out of that 100 rupees, 10 rupees or 20 rupees he will spend on consumption of rice. That means he will spend 20 rupees to purchase a kilogram of rice. kilogram of rice. Another 15 rupees he will spend on the education of the children. For your education, that your father will spend 15 rupees. Another 20 rupees will spend on the head of this shelter, house rent, whatever, and the rest of the money he will save. That saving again may be deposited in the bank, maybe cash may be retained or kept in the home, or maybe invested in different share markets, debentures, etc., etc. Or another 5 rupees is kept for healthcare services. Healthcare service. If somebody suddenly suffer from any disease, then that saving of the amount of the money what is kept for the healthcare services may be spent. So in this way, the consumer plans his total income, how he will spend. So his total income is planned for spending, planned for spending. Let's take an example that 20 rupees he has assumed, he has planned 20 rupees to be spent on the consumption of rice. That means he will spend 20 rupees to purchase rice or purchase sugar or purchase any other commodity. So now when he plans and he will purchase those commodities as per the given market prices. So for example, the market price of rice is 20 rupees per kilogram, and if he plans to spend 20 rupees, he will get 1 kilogram of rice only. So he will get 1 kilogram of rice. So their transaction takes place. He pays rupees 20 to the shopkeeper, and shopkeeper gives him a kilogram of rice. Transaction takes place. After that, he will be satisfied on the point when the when the shopkeeper will give him 1 kilogram of rice. If the consumer gives him less than 1 kilogram of rice, say 900 gram, then he will not be satisfied. If the shopkeeper gives him 1100 grams of rice, then also he will not be satisfied, because we have assumed the consumer must be rational consumer. So as per the given market prices, as per the given market price of the commodity, he will purchase, and then he will pay the adequate amount of price for the product what he wants to purchase. So that is why those are assumed. Consumer is assumed to be rational. Whatever he earns, that will be planned for spending, and then transaction will take place. After spending, the consumer will get highest level of satisfaction, means utility. So those are the assumptions of demand. After that, assuming this, the theory of demand starts, and based upon those assumptions, the demand analysis is discussed, and then demand is defined as the desire backed by the adequate purchasing power, or desire backed by the willingness and ability to pay. Here you see this definition includes several points. Desire means what? Willingness. Say for example, you have money but you don't want to purchase. Then if you don't want to buy or don't want to purchase, transaction will not take place. If transaction does not take place, then question of payment, adequacy of money, or the purchasing power, or the satisfaction, nothing will take place unless you show your desiredness to purchase the product. So first you must be desirous or willing to purchase a certain product or service. If you want to meet a doctor for your father, if you are desirous to diagnose your disease, desirous to meet or willingness to meet the doctor, then only you will contact the doctor. Doctor's advice will be there. Whether doctor's advice is proper or not, then if it is proper, if proper medicines are given, after taking that medicine, you will be satisfied whenever your father will be cured.